Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever stopped to think about the journey of an everyday item, say the phone in your hand, or maybe the clothes you're wearing, before it even reached you? It's a fascinating path through something we call industry.
It really is.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the vast and, pretty complex world of industries.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that we'll explore not just what industries are, but how they've shaped our lives, how they're classified, where they're located,
Right.
and even the significant impact they have on our planet and, what can potentially be done about it. Our sources for this deep dive give us a phenomenal roadmap.
Exactly. Our goal is really to give you a shortcut, kind of to being well-informed about this really foundational aspect of our modern world. And hopefully we'll uncover some surprising facts and practical insights along the way.
Sounds good.
So let's start right at the beginning. What exactly is an industry? Our sources define industry as basically an organized economic activity focused on converting raw material into finished goods, usually on a large scale.
And manufacturing is kind of the action part of that,
Sure.
right? The actual process of doing just that, transforming those raw materials into products of a specific shape, size, design, whatever's needed.
Got it.
And if we, connect this to the bigger picture, industrialization,
Right.
which really took off, say, back in the 18th century.
Right.
It made it possible to manufacture goods on a massive scale and at a low cost. This truly helped make lives easier, more comfortable.
How so?
Well, think about it. The whole process of manufacturing became less tedious, less labor-intensive.
Yeah.
So that led to more houses being built, more crops grown efficiently, faster movement of people and goods, and even better security, strangely enough, through improved weapons manufacturing.
That makes sense. And before that big shift, our sources remind us, early humans, after they figured out the basic food situation,
Yeah.
they started creating other necessities like clothing, utensils, tools, weapons, usually right there at home, often just with family members.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. That kind of home-based production is essentially the earliest form of what we now classify as a cottage industry.
Absolutely, yeah. And from there, industries evolved, and, they're still primarily classified by their size, by their scale.
Okay.
So first you have the cottage industry. It still exists today, of course. This is where products are made right at home, mostly with family labor, maybe a few hired workers.
Like what sort of things?
Oh, think like candle making or khadi fabric weaving in India, agarbadi incense, sticks pottery, handicrafts, even things like pickle making or papad making in some places.
Okay, familiar stuff.
Then you step up to small-scale industry. These operate with a working capital of less than 10 crore rupees.
Which about?
Roughly 1.2 million US dollars, give or take. Think about like food processing units, local soap makers, small leather goods producers,
Right.
and then the big ones, large-scale industry. Here, the capital involved is way over that 10 crore rupee mark. It means high investment, lots more manpower, extensive machinery, and examples there would be.
Oh, the giants. The automobile industry, cement production, iron and steel plants, making railway coaches and engines,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Okay, clear distinction by size. So let's unpack this next layer. How industries are classified by where they get their raw materials. That seems pretty fundamental.
It really is. It tells you a lot about the industry's base. So you've got agro-based industries. These obviously get their raw materials straight from agriculture.
Like sugar from sugarcane.
Exactly. Or mustard or soya beans for edible oil, wheat for flour mills, fruits and vegetables for food processing, flowers for floriculture, even ingredients for animal feed. It's a huge category.
Okay.
Then mineral-based industries. They derive their raw material from, minerals. So iron and steel, again, petroleum refining, cement manufacturing.
Just, right?
Marine-based industries. These get their raw materials from oceans and seas. Think packing fish, seafood processing, maybe even mining pearls.
Right, from the ocean.
Forest-based industries, utilizing timber mainly. So making plywood, doors, paper, stuff like that. And finally, chemical-based industries. These manufacture various chemicals, for things like paints, detergents, plastics, fertilizers, a whole range.
Okay, that covers a lot of ground, but here's where it gets really interesting, I think, because some industries, especially the newer ones, they don't rely on traditional raw materials in quite the same way, do they?
That's a great point.
Our sources specifically mention the electronics industry, making computers, mobiles, all their accessories, and the, the cutting-edge information technology, or IT industry.
Yeah, the IT industry is truly a different beast. It's a high-tech global industry, and its raw material, if you like, is information. It's focused on creating it, storing it, retrieving it, processing it, protecting it, all using computers and software.
Can the internet change everything there?
Completely. The internet, search engines like Google, the explosion of apps.
Yeah.
It's revolutionized how we think, how we work. Think about e-commerce, e-reservation, e-payments, e-learning, even government services like India's DigiLocker for putting official documents on the cloud,
Right.
or just mobile cloud storage generally.
It really does raise an important question, which our sources touch on. How much has artificial intelligence, AI, changed this landscape even further? It's being applied everywhere now.
Absolutely. Yeah. AI is layering onto that information-based foundation in ways we're still fully grasping.
So, okay, we've got size, we've got raw materials. What does this all mean for who actually owns and runs these various industries?
Ownership, another key classification, you can break it down like this. Public sector industries. These are wholly owned by the government. In India, think Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, BHEL, Indian Oil Corporation, IOC, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, government-run entities.
Okay.
Then the opposite, private sector industries, wholly owned by individuals or groups of individuals, private companies, like Reliance Industries, Arbuel, Airtel, Tata Iron and Steel Company, Tata Steel. Familiar big name.
Right, the private players.
Then there's a mix, joint sector industries. These are jointly owned and run by both the government and private businesses. Mahanagar Gas Limited is a good example they cite.
A partnership model.
Exactly. And finally, a really interesting one, cooperative sector industries. These are unique because the people running the industry are often also the producers or suppliers of the raw material itself.
Oh, interesting. Like who?
The really famous examples are Anand Milk Union Limited, AMUL, the big dairy cooperative in India, and Lusha Papad, the women's cooperative making papadoms. The suppliers are essentially the owners.
Fascinating model. Okay, so beyond what they are and who owns them, there's another crucial classification, their function. And then maybe most importantly, where they decide to set up shop. This raises that big question. Why is an industry located there and not somewhere else?
Precisely. Let's quickly touch on function first. You can categorize them as basic or key industries. Their end products become the raw material for other industries. Think iron and steel, aluminum smelting, cement. They're foundational.
Got it. They feed other industries.
Consumer industries. Their end products go directly to us, the consumers. So the biscuit industry, soap makers, watch manufacturers.
Things we buy off the shelf.
Heavy industries. These deal with heavy, bulky raw materials and usually make heavy, bulky end products, like the automobile industry or shipbuilding.
Big stuff.
And the opposite, light industries. Raw materials and end products are lighter, less voluminous, like, say, the watch industry again, or parts of the textile industry.
Okay, function covered. Now, the big one, location. You said it's not accidental. It depends on critical factors, split into physical and human categories.
Exactly. It's a strategic decision based on many inputs. Physical factors are things like topography. You generally need flat land to build factories.
Makes sense.
An ample water supply is crucial, and preferably not hard or salty water. You need uninterrupted power. You need easy, low-cost access to your raw materials nearby, if possible. And sometimes even a suitable climate matters.
Okay, the physical environment. What about the human side?
Human factors are just as vital. Easy availability of labor, both skilled and unskilled, ideally at a low cost. Political stability is huge. Industries tend to avoid areas affected by terrorism or serious unrest.
Like that Tata Nano example you mentioned.
Exactly. The project had to be shelved in West Bengal because of local opposition and instability and moved. Then you need capital availability of banking and financial services. A well-developed transport and communication network is essential.
Moving goods and information.
Right. Favorable government policies can make a big difference, incentives, tax breaks, etc. And finally, nearness to ports is key if you're exporting products or importing raw materials.
Wow, that's a lot of factors to juggle. And it must be rare to find all of those perfectly aligned in one spot.
It almost never happens.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean? Decisions have to be made. You locate where you can get the maximum number of favorable conditions together, ideally at the lowest possible price and with the least effort. It's a balancing act.
A complex calculation.
And governments often step in, like we said. They might set up industries in backward areas deliberately, offering incentives like cheap power or land to encourage development and create jobs there.
Trying to spread the benefits.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting again, looking at global shifts. Our sources mentioned that back in April 2019, something like 200 U.S. manufacturing companies were reportedly planning to shift their units from China to India.
That's a significant move.
It signals a potentially huge global industrial shift, right?
Yeah.
And the creation of new manufacturing hubs with potentially lots and lots of jobs opening up in India. Really dynamic.
Definitely something to watch. So when these industries cluster together because the conditions are right, they form what are called industrial regions, and then settlements pop up around them, shops, banks, schools, hospitals. Infrastructure follows the industry.
Naturally.
Our sources identify 4 major industrial regions globally: Western and Central Europe, Eastern Asia, Eastern Europe, and Eastern North America.
Those are the big concentrations, yeah.
Okay, now let's take a deep dive into some of the world's major industries specifically, starting with one considered the absolute backbone of any nation.
Ah, yes. The iron and steel industry. It's rightly called the yardstick of a country's progress. I mean, think about it, from a tiny pin to a huge ship, or even the Burj Khalifa.
Wow.
It all requires iron and steel. It needs heavy, bulky raw materials. Iron ore, coal, limestone, manganese. That's why the plants are usually located near those sources.
Logistics are key.
Huge capital investment is needed and a really well-developed transport network. Globally, Germany, the USA, UK, China, Russia, they're the main producers. And fascinatingly, Japan is a major producer, even though it imports most of its iron ore.
That is interesting. What about India specifically?
Well, in India, the industry existed in smaller form since around 1894, but the first really large unit was set up in 1907 by Jamsetji Nusarwanji Tata.
The famous Kata steel.
Right, in Sakchi, which is now Jamshedpur, actually named after him. Its location was brilliant near the Chotanagpur Plateau for iron ore and coal. Odisha nearby provided limestone and manganese. The Karkai and Subarnarekha rivers gave ample water.
All the physical factors lining up.
Plus, cheap labor was available and was relatively close to the Kolkata seaport for exports. Just a prime spot. Today, India has about 13 major steel plants and hundreds of mini ones.
Incredible growth. Okay, what about an industry that, well, quite literally dresses the world?
The cotton textile industry, yeah. Its products still have a huge market, even with all the cheaper man-made fibers available now.
True.
Key location factors here: ample capital, water, power, transport, access to raw cotton. Crucially, a humid climate for spinning.
Oh, right. The humidity matters.
Yes, prevents the thread from breaking easily. And of course, cheap skilled labor. Historically, the UK was an early leader, but the industry shifted. First to the USA's East Coast, the New England area, then further south in the US, because the raw cotton was right there. Brazil now has the biggest textile industry in Latin America. And Japan's textile industry has really revived. It contributes over 50% of its exports now, which is remarkable.
Wow. And the Indian story?
Well, during British rule, it was a bit exploitative. Raw cotton went to Britain.
Right.
And then finished goods were sold back to India at higher prices. But Indians soon realized this wasn't sustainable. So in 1854, Kawaji Nanapai Davar set up the Bombay spinning mill in Mumbai.
A turning point.
Absolutely. The Maharashtra-Gujarat belt was perfect raw cotton, cheap labor, that humid climate. Ahmedabad actually became known as the Manchester of India.
Ah.
Over time, though, Mumbai mills faced pressure, rising land prices, machinery getting old. Many eventually closed. Meanwhile, Coimbatore, down south, became a major leader in South India's textile scene.
Interesting regional shifts within India, too. Okay, from fabric, let's sweeten things up a bit. The sugar industry.
All right, the sugar industry. This covers everything from growing the crops to processing and marketing the sugar. About 80% comes from sugarcane, the other 20% or so from sugar beet.
And India's role.
India is actually the largest producer globally, followed by Brazil, Thailand, China, and the USA. But sugarcane isn't just for sugar anymore.
Oh. What else?
It's used to produce ethanol alcohol fuel. This is big in Brazil and the USA as an automotive fuel. India achieved a 10% blend with petrol back in 2024, aiming for more.
Using a whole plant, basically.
Pretty much. Bagasse, the residue left after crushing sugarcane, is burned to generate bioelectricity. And molasses, another byproduct, goes into distilleries for making rum. In India, the big sugar states are Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, and Punjab.
Very resourceful. Okay, shifting from land to sea, another giant industry, shipbuilding.
Yes, the shipbuilding industry. The major players today are China, especially Shanghai, Japan, with hubs like Imabari and Nagasaki in South Korea. known for huge yards in Samho and Jojie.
What kind of ships are they mostly building?
Nowadays, it's mainly cargo ships. Those massive container ships, tankers, bulk carriers, big passenger ocean liners are actually quite rare now. Some are preserved for specific routes, like the Queen Mary 2 on the Atlantic run.
So mostly freight.
Mostly freight. Cruise ships for tourism are a separate market, built mainly in places like Germany, Finland, Italy, and Japan. And huge companies like Hyundai and Samsung are big players in shipbuilding overall.
And India's position, with that long coastline.
Exactly. India has a 7,517-kilometer coastline, and something like 90% of its exports go by sea, so shipbuilding is vital. There are about 20 shipbuilding and repair yards. The Kochi shipyard is the latest and largest, built with Japanese help. Visakhapatnam's is the oldest, from 1941.
Any specialists?
Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, MDL, in Mumbai, that's India's prime shipyard for building warships and submarines for the Navy.
Okay, crucial for defense, too. Now, forgetting around on land the massive automobile industry.
Huge, yeah. The automobile industry covers everything: design, development, manufacturing, marketing. Of all motor vehicles.
Yeah.
Cars, motorbikes, three-wheelers, trucks, buses.
Still it works.
Global names, we all know.
For sure. Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, Hyundai, Toyota, Honda, Chevrolet, General Motors, Ford. The list goes on. In India, you have players like Ashok Leyland focusing on trucks and buses, Tata Motors making SUVs, sedans, and more.
And Maruti had a big impact.
Oh, absolutely. Maruti Udyog Limited, collaborating with Suzuki, completely revolutionized the Indian car market when they launched the Maruti 800 back in 1984. It made cars accessible to many more people.
A game changer.
Definitely. And today, driven by rising middle-class incomes and a large young population wanting mobility, India is, as of 2023, the world's fourth largest manufacturer of automobiles.
Largest, wow.
And the third largest in terms of sales, combining domestic and international markets. It's a powerhouse.
Incredible scale. Okay, finally, let's touch on one of humanity's oldest ways of getting food and making a living. The fishing industry. Yes, one of the oldest, providing jobs, and a vital food source globally. You can divide it into marine fishing, oceans and seas, and freshwater fishing in lakes, rivers, ponds.
And it's not just about catching them, right?
No, absolutely not. It includes crucial steps like preservation, often freezing right on the boats or soon after landing and transportation, needing specialized refrigerated systems. China, Norway, Vietnam, Indonesia, Canada. These countries have massive turnovers from fishing.
What about India's fishing exports?
India exports quite a bit, especially shrimps and prawns. That makes up about 89% of seafood exports.
Yep.
Fish accounts for the other 11%. Key markets are Japan, Europe, and other Southeast Asian countries.
Okay, so we've seen how vital these industries are. Building economies, making things we use every day. But there's a flip side, isn't there? A significant cost.
There absolutely is. While industries drive economies and, make our lives arguably easier, they also come with a substantial environmental footprint. They degrade the quality of our environment.
Right. And this raises that critical question. What exactly are these impacts? And perhaps more importantly, what can actually be done about them? Our sources identify 4 main types of pollution from industry.
That's right. Air, water, land, and noise pollution. Let's break them down. Air pollution. Industrial emissions release stuff like nitrogen dioxide, soot or particulate matter, carbon monoxide, volatile hydrocarbons.
Nasty stuff.
Yeah, leads to discomfort, serious health hazards for people living nearby, contributes to rising temperatures, and ultimately global warming.
So prevention.
Key measures include using high chimneys to disperse pollutants better, spraying water sometimes to settle particulate matter, creating green shields, belts of trees between industrial and residential zones.
Natural buffers.
Exactly. Using eco-friendly energy sources where possible, like electricity or ethanol instead of coal, and just basic good practice. Frequently checking equipment efficiency, regular engine servicing, and tuning for vehicles used by the industry.
Okay, sensible steps. What about water pollution?
This is a big one, too. Industries like textile manufacturing, chemicals, leather tanning, smelting, paper, and pulp. They often dump effluents, their wastewater, directly into rivers and lakes.
Untreated.
Often, or insufficiently treated. This causes water hardness, introduces harmful things like arsenic. And thermal power plants cause thermal pollution by releasing large amounts of hot, sometimes boiling water, which drastically impacts aquatic life.
Kills fish and plants.
Exactly. So prevention here is crucial. Effluents absolutely must be drained only after proper treatment. Thermal plants have to cool the water before discharge. And ideally, industries should try to reuse and recycle water within their processes as much as possible.
Makes sense. Then there's land pollution.
Right. Factories dump solid waste, creating garbage heaps. These aren't just ugly, they become breeding grounds for flies, mosquitoes, other pests,
Yeah.
disease vectors.
Yeah.
And worse, harmful chemicals from the waste can seep into the ground when it rains, polluting the groundwater. If that groundwater is used for drinking or cooking,
That's incredibly dangerous.
it can be fatal. Our sources mention links to diseases like cancer in areas near, for example, pesticide manufacturing plants, where groundwater got contaminated.
So the solution?
The primary solution is creating dedicated, well-managed landfills, specifically for industrial waste disposal, containing it properly.
Okay. And the last one, noise pollution. Maybe less obvious, but still impactful.
Definitely impactful. Think about the noise from heavy machinery. Drilling, grinding, cutting, huge diesel generators, stone crushers. It generates significant noise.
Constant loud noise.
Yeah, and that causes irritation, stress, hypertension, ear problems, and can lead to permanent hearing impairment for workers and nearby residents.
So how do you prevent that?
Fitting silencers on machines helps. Using noise-absorbing materials in the buildings, things like wooden panels, thick carpets, heavy curtains, can make a difference. And critically, trying to locate noisy industries away from residential and commercial areas in the first place.
Right, zoning matters. It's fascinating, circling back to location, that our sources point out how often industries end up near coal fields or seaports.
It really highlights the core drivers.
So what does this all mean? It seems like that proximity to coal ensures fuel,
The energy source.
and being near seaports ensures easy transport, smooth access to world markets. It really feels like this constant, delicate balancing act between getting the resources you need, reaching your markets, and dealing with the environmental responsibility that comes with it all.
Perfectly put. It's a complex equation industries are constantly trying to solve.
Well, this deep dive has really shown us how industries, from their absolute earliest forms right up to the high-tech giants we see today, are just so core to human progress and, frankly, our daily comfort. We've unpacked their classifications, understood those crucial location factors, and explored some of the major global players in detail.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is realizing that every single product we use, everything we consume, has this incredibly complex industrial journey behind it. And if we connect that to the bigger picture,
Right.
it really emphasizes how the choices we make as consumers, as citizens, can actually influence how industries operate and maybe push them towards managing their environmental footprint more responsibly.
Powerful thought. So the next time you use a product, maybe a simple pencil, maybe that cutting-edge smartphone, perhaps just consider the entire industry, the whole complex system that brought it to you. Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to ponder. What other hidden industries are quietly shaping your daily life without you even realizing it?